Hello?
I do have it on.
You do now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, it was on, I just wasn't speaking to it. I'm sorry. Let's start again.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Director Ackerman is on the phone from Albuquerque, New Mexico, to be part of this meeting. Can you hear us, Cash?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
thank you very much. We're good. So we have a quorum. And I'd like to ask as his final duty if Director Tibbetts would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. I
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you.
All right. Do we have approval of the agenda? May I have a motion? Janie, second. Maggie? Is there any objection to the agenda? All right, it's passed without objection. The minutes, there were a couple of Scribner's errors in the minutes that have been pointed out to our corporate secretary, and those will be taken care of when they are published. They're not substantial. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of our last annual meeting last October? Maggie? Don? Okay, is there any objection?
Question.
Yes?
Should we include the decisions made in closed meeting in anywhere? Because right now, the residents are asking, how come your closed meeting making all these decisions and we are not aware of?
We do not, that's why it's a closed meeting. We do not publish closed meetings.
But the decisions should be announced, right? Some of the decisions, I understand the personnel issues are not disclosed,
All right.
but
Number one, there was no closed meeting. We're talking about the annual meeting last October 10th,
yeah.
and there was no closed meeting, so that's nothing that can be done. Jeff,
How
would you
about the
like
previous closed meetings? We haven't announced any closed meeting results.
You want to speak to that?
Sure, if I may. The procedural question raised by Mr. Torn is related to the Open Meeting Act of the Civil Code, which allows the board to meet in open session and then also in closed session to discuss certain specific matters when there's action before the board. We're here today meeting in a membership meeting. This is a meeting of the members. There's a annual member meeting once a year. It's open. There are no closed member meetings. And because of that, it would not be appropriate for any closed session action items to be placed on the agenda for a member meeting.
Sorry, misunderstand my question.
I understand your question, but it has no meaning at this meeting. It is not something we can do or talk about, so you'll have to bring that up at our November meeting if you still want to do so,
Okay.
which will be a
I'll wait
regular
until that
business
time.
meeting. This is not a business meeting. All right, acknowledgement of the press. There she is. And of course, we have our wonderful staff upstairs that is filming this. Okay, State of the Mutual. We have a slide presentation to talk about basically what we've done in the last year, some of our accomplishments, what we've been doing as a board. So Cheryl, if you can put those up on the screen. Okay, United Laguna Woods Mutual. One of our primary goals is to create a safe and peaceful neighborhood while managing for the future of the mutual. And we do that with reasonable assessments, increased reserves, investing in infrastructure, and higher property values. We'll look at some of those in specific later. The biggest part of our budget goes to maintenance projects. So what are some of the maintenance projects that we have done this year? Our Prior to Paint program, which is also our dry rot program. And if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see some of the dry rot repair in progress that we have done. Again, a lot of these things probably should have been done in years past, but they were not. So it's been a catch-up program for the last 2 years to try to accomplish all that we can where these are concerned. There are some, of course, that are still ongoing. We're in the middle of our exterior paint program, which is now a 10-year program. And by the way, if residents are interested, our paint colors and groupings are available in the resident services division over on the wall. So if you want to see, if you're particularly if you're new, what the paint combinations are, that's where they are. Waistline remediation is probably our biggest project. And as you can see from this slide, this is what it looks like before. The old iron pipes, rusted, corroded. And 2 years ago, we started the program of the epoxy lining of the waistline pipes. And that's what you see in the after. And this is a big project. We're spending a majority of our maintenance budget on it. We have reduced the time of completion from 12 years to 6 years. We've been working on it for 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. And a lot of that is because this technology was not available before then. It took us a long time to find the right thing to be able to epoxy these lines. This is a fairly new technology. So we're moving ahead as fast as we can. We have a lot of money in the budget to do it this year. But as you can see, it really cleans it out. We have a roofing program for our flat roof, not our tile roofs, but our flat roofs, and they are a lining, vinyl lining, which is also white, which reflects the heat and makes the buildings cooler and is just better all around. So we only use this now when we re-roof our flat-lying buildings. Pushmatic panel replacement. You can see the before and after. This is an ongoing program as well. And we have found that our Pushmatics are not updatable too much because we can't get parts for all of them. We're replacing them with other kinds of panels where we can. Some of them have been replaced, but when they look like the before, they've got to come out and we've got to put new ones in. Moisture intrusion, that's probably the second biggest thing that we have behind waistline, and that in some ways is connected, because when there is a stoppage, when there is a water issue, and we have moisture intrusion, and we have to go in there and we have to dry down, which is a lengthy and expensive process, and not sometimes just for one unit, but sometimes it spills over into other units. So the response time used to be 28 days to get the whole thing done, and now it's down to 16.3. That's a 42% improvement, and we hope to be making even more improvements as we go into the next year. Concrete repair. Some of you have had this in your cul-de-sac. Again, in a 50-year-old environment, the concrete can deteriorate and does deteriorate. And so we have an ongoing project to repair the concrete, which leads to the next ones, which is our special projects. Oh, not there, sorry. I thought we had the blacktopping.
It's later.
It's later on. I'm sorry, I'm in front of myself. Probably our most successful special project this last year has been the handyman program. It is very, very popular. We have over 200 residents signed up, multi calls to them. As you know, for $200 a year, a resident can get 3 handyman calls a month. And so we have a lot of that. I was interested to see what was the most popular thing that we had our handyman doing. And one of them is putting together furniture. People go to IKEA or some other store and they come home with the box and they say, what do I do with all of this? How do I work all these screws in? How do I slide all A into B, et cetera? Our handyman is very good at putting together furniture, whether it's patio furniture or interior furniture. That seems to be what he's doing over in 277, is putting a slide-out desk in. So those are the kinds of things that handyman is doing. Solar energy has been quite popular. We're just getting the readouts on the savings that we have accumulated over the last year on the solar project. Instead of a month by month, we usually get a yearly savings, what we're doing and how much we've saved and how many watts we've generated and all of that kind of stuff. But the solar project on some of our carports is giving us electricity for our common area, our carports and our laundries. It does not affect or give any relief to our individual homes and residences. Here we go, seal coating. We just finished up that project. And of course, it worked with the concrete repair. Walkway lighting program, 2 years ago, we had a big project with this, and we redid all of our walkway lighting in the Pagoda style. We put LED lights in all of them, but we also made provision from year to year that we could add new ones, and we've added 37 new ones, so that there's no way we're ever going to light every sidewalk all the way. But when we have a particularly dark place and residents put in a form asking for lights there, if it's possible, if there's a way to get electricity to that area and we don't have to retrench and go through all of those things, we've been putting in new walkway lighting, and we have 37 of those. Landscape, of course, is a big item on our agendas. We have a turf reduction plan, which is taking out a lot of the grass areas and putting in moisture-resistant, water-efficient landscaping, which is the next one. These are the types of plants. The big project this last year were cul-de-sacs 8 and 40. The Arbor Pro tree system. We have a contract with a third party that's called Arbor Pro. They have come in and done an inventory of all of our 30,000 plus trees by species, by age, by size, all of that kind of thing, so that as we go forward, we can do things much more economically, doing it by species instead of just going into a cul-de-sac and hacking everything down, whether they need it or not. So the Arbor Pro system has been very successful. Then we are testing organic herbicides, addressing the residents' concerns about the different compounds that are used in the village. This board made a decision, rather than just stopping Roundup that we would take 3 months to find an adequate substance to replace it. And we are at this time testing 5 different herbicides to see how they do, how economical they are, all of those kinds of things. And in the meantime, we have reduced the use of Roundup considerably to just some of the edging. We revised the landscape manual, which was a big job. Thank you, Maggie. Bringing it up to date so that it reflects what we're doing right now in the village. And that's available over in Resident Services if you would like to see it. We have some governance decisions that have been done this year. One of the big ones is our stock certificate. As I'm sure you're all aware, we are stockholders in the United Mutual Corporation. We do not own our units. We own a right to occupy our units. The old certificate, and let me say up front, we're not going to be changing everybody's certificate, but going forward, it makes it much clearer that this is a stock certificate that also gives you membership if you qualify. Just buying a stock does not mean that you automatically are a member and can live in the village. We do have qualifications, both age and financial, to live in the village. So this basically just kind of resaid what it did, but instead of in big letters saying membership certificate, that people thought if they inherited that membership certificate, they were automatically a member, spells out what and how and why you become a member and what the use of the stock certificate, which you always own the stock, the asset, and you could always sell it. Some of the improvements that we've done in governance, we've looked at the co-occupancy policy, which was very vague. We've revised member qualifications. The financial qualifications were increased from $36,000 to $40,000 income. The assets remained the same. We formed an energy task force with both United and GRF and the towers that is working very well together. And we have a proactive budget rather than just a reactive budget of only taking care of things that need to be fixed at this time. So we need to forecast in the future and proactively look at what we need to do and how we're going to get the money to do that. Safety and security improvements, because as I said, we want a safe environment for our residents. We've put in a temporary container policy. Those are the pods, those are the dump trucks, those are the bins that contractors use, et cetera, that were taking up a lot of our parking spaces, and we've put in a policy on that. We also have an anti-clutter policy. And this is a good picture of a patio clutter. We want our neighborhoods to look good. We want our manners to look good. We want it to look good to our neighbors, and we want it to look good to prospective buyers. We have an inspection policy now for unoccupied units. We have in the past have had some problems with rodents and other pests in unoccupied units that have been unoccupied for sometimes years and years at a time. So every 6 months, we have an inspection of unoccupied units to make sure that they are still in good shape. There's no water leaks, there's no loose wiring, no rodents, any of those kinds of things. And because it affects all of the other manners in your building. And we have a ban on trash picking. What this is, they've used the term dumpster diving. We have trash pickup through Waste Management, and we have separated bins for garbage, and we have separated recyclables. When they get mixed up, when people put garbage in the recycle bins, it costs us quite a bit of money because Waste Management charges us to go through and do all of that. So we have a PR program going on, and it will be ongoing to try to identify what you can put where. And then the other big problem that we have there is people who have decided it's a dumping ground. I don't want this mattress anymore, so I'm going to put it out by the trash bins, or a chair, or a dresser, or something like that. Waste Management doesn't pick that up. They have a special day, the third Saturday of the month, when they will pick up large items like that. But just taking them out and leaving them by the garbage bin is not good. And so we have put some rules in on that. Working to identify violations, we've introduced a disciplinary violations matrix that's used by our executive disciplinary committee. And it has all the different kinds of things that we could think that usually come up for disciplinary action, whether it requires a warning, whether it requires fast tracking because it's a really important legal issue, or whether it goes through the regular process, which usually takes a couple of months, and that's by state law policy. It has to have this warning, whatever. We increased the hearings and developed a more orderly procedure using this matrix, and enforced leasing and caregiver policies more vigorously. And we are right now working on the caregiver policy because we know there's lots of caregivers, and that's great in this community, but we don't know about them. They're not registered, and that can be a problem. So we're working on the new update of the caregiver policies with our other mutuals. Neighbor-to-neighbor respect. This is probably one of our biggest issues. People are not used to living so close together in a community. And we have harassment and nuisance, and it was not clearly defined. So we have set policies that clearly define what a nuisance is, what harassment is, and what clutter is. So if you are called for disciplinary, you have a better idea of what it is that we're talking about. One of the new things this year is we now have earthquake insurance for United. Now, we still really encourage, twist arms for every resident to get their own insurance for what's inside your unit, because United does not, the mutual does not handle any of your personal belongings or alterations that you have put into your unit. So if there is any problem, and it can be an earthquake, or it could be any other kind of damage that we see, it's up to you to have that, and we encourage everybody to have at least an HO6 policy. Improved architectural standards. We found that this was, again, one of our big issues, people who want to do alterations to their units, which is fine, but we need to know about it. It needs to go in our computer system so the next person who may buy the share for that right to occupy that unit knows what's been done in the past. Because over and over again, we get people who came in and say, well, it was there when I bought it, so it should be covered. Not if it's an alteration, and not if it goes against our policies. So everybody who does anything to their unit needs to come in and talk to alterations, look at the streamlined alterations procedure, the updated standards, and the rules for contractors, because every resident is their contractor. If anything goes wrong with the contractor, it comes back to the resident or member, not to the contractor. These clearer rules for contractors include things like the permits that need to be in the window when anything is being done. Parking, which has been a big problem in many different areas, but we can solve that for the contractors, and that's one of the rules that we have done. The other thing that we're very proud of is our participation in the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. And as you can see from this map, all the little red things mean that there is a good neighbor captain for that building or that cul-de-sac. I'm very proud to say that we have more than the other mutual does. We need more, and there's training that's presented, and there's going to be the Great California or American Shakeout on the 18th of this month, where we will be testing all of our policies and procedures that way. Improved communication is one of the big things that we are very proud to be part of. What's Up in the Village, that's emailed to 12,000 plus residents every Friday, and you may get some during the week if there's a special thing that comes up. We encourage everybody to sign up for email access. Hopefully you have a tablet, a computer, a smartphone, something, so that you can access the digital things that come out from the village, which is the fastest, most economical way to get things out to our members. We have the Village Breeze, which is thriving, doing very, very well. Members of each board of the directors put it together. Again, our communications committee, headed by Maggie, work this out and have articles for each of the associations. And they also have what's new, a calendar schedule of what's happening when they're doing street sweeping, when they're doing paving, that kind of thing, which kind of brings everybody up to date. We try to do it all electronically, but as you can see right now, we have 12,000. We have more than that residents. So if you are not signed up, please sign up. It's very easy on the website. And if not, there are print copies available at the clubhouses and throughout the village. Some of the other print communications that we contribute to as United, the recreation events calendar that comes out every month. We do have contribute to the farmers market. It's not a regular basis, but it depends on the growing season. And it's at a garden center too, and it's really nice for the people who have excess produce that they are willing to share with the residents. And then the Easy Rider, which is continually updated, and we have things like destination shopping, which has become very, very popular, not just with the regular bus riders, but with other people in the village who like the destinations and would like to go as a group, even though they may drive a car. It's more fun to be on a bus with a group, and they all go to some very interesting different things on these destinations. The website has been updated and improved. And again, go on the website if you have not. One of the things we're very proud of is the fact that it's now in many different languages. At the top, you just check on language, and if you need it in Mandarin or Farsi or Spanish or Italian or whatever, you can read the Breeze in that, which makes it much more transparent to our different residents of different cultural backgrounds. And it also has a place where you can check and put in your email so that you get all of the email communications from the village. Why are we getting dependent on the email? Why are we dependent on electronic communications? A lot of it's a budgeting thing. If we tried to mail all of this information out to you, that would take up most of our budget. It's very expensive. So we really encourage everybody in the village to try to somehow be on electronic. TV6, every Friday on TV6 we have a United update, and one of our board members, usually committee chairs, are on there saying what's going on that week, what happened at their committee meeting for that week, that kind of thing, and what's coming up. So the TV6 Friday mornings, each board has a different day. Ours is Friday mornings, 8:30, and then rebroadcast at 12 and at 5. So it helps keep you up with what's going on in the village. We have new resident orientation for people who are new to the village. And these are held monthly, and we have had 187 so far this year who have attended the new member orientation, new resident orientation. And it's put on by Communications Department, and one board member is there at each of the new resident orientation meetings. There's also 5 docent tours a month, every Thursday afternoon and one Saturday a month. And it's a bus ride. You have to sign up for it, and it takes you all over the village. We find a lot of people, particularly in United, who live in the south part of United, have no idea what's up in the third area. They maybe know where the golf course is, but if you say, there's a meeting this week at Clubhouse 5, they say, where's that? Don't know how to get there. So this takes people around, and it's new people to the village, it's prospective people to the village, to go around and see what all we have, because we have a very large footprint. Emergency notification system, our code red. Again, if you are signed up, if we have your email, you will get these notifications by phone, by email, and by text message, whatever we have for you, and maybe all 3. So there's oftentimes when there's some sort of an emergency in the village. We've had some crime things that we have wanted to put on here. Certainly physical things like floods, fires. When the fires were so close up by Ridge Route, we got updates on that. So the code red system is something that's fairly new. Let's talk finance. United Mutual, for this coming year, our business plan basically shows a change of $9.53 per month. And as you can see, that's, excuse me, a little bit above what it was in 2018. And this goes back and shows you 18 and 19. Tried to make it a little clearer with a bar chart here, and it shows the assessments from 2015 to 2019. And you can see that it has not gone tremendously up in any one year. It's about 2%, which of course is less than CPI. Our GRF assessment, because our monthly assessment to our members includes both United and GRF, which has gone down and then up just a little bit in the last year or two for all of the amenities and the things that GRF is in charge of. Our total assessment history from 2015 to 2019, again, as you can see, is pretty steady. Our reserve history went down quite a bit last year, and it's heating back up. The balance that we have, our reserves for a community this size are very low. And we're always thinking, revising, updating, whatever. Excuse me. Happens when I talk a lot. But you see the ending balances over the last 9 years. And a pie chart on our assessment history, and you can see it stayed fairly steady. One of the things that we want to do is to make sure that our properties are gaining value. And on this chart, you can see where it went down in 2011, 2012, it has built back up again. And our units are right now going for more than they have in the last few years. And just to show you on this next slide where we stand with some of our neighbors, this shows in blue Laguna Woods and in red our near neighbor Aliso Viejo. And you can see that the closed sales pretty well follow the same pattern. And this is true in other of our near communities. So it just kind of depends on the market. We are not unique. We've really worked this year on intra-board collaborations. We've promoted the installation of the gate arms and cameras at the gate houses. And the next one that we're going to have is Gate 1, and then I think Gate 3. And they will continue through the first parts of next year. We've combined with Third and GRF to form the Energy Task Force, which we have found we have similar energy problems throughout the community. These are things like infrastructure that will not hold enough charge for electronic vehicles that we are getting more and more and more of. They were set up for just barely handling golf carts. And so we are working together with a consultant to see where we are, where we want to go, and what it's going to take to get there. We also have reinstated monthly meetings of the presidents and first vice presidents of each of the associations and the treasurers. They have a separate meeting where no actions are taken. It's just a free for all. This is what we're doing. What are you doing? How did you handle this? What do you see this as a problem? Those kinds of things. And it's a great discussion that makes us really know that we are a village, not a separate entity. One of the best ways to enjoy is to take a tree walk, and all 3 of the tree walks that we have the brochures out about are in United. So we're very proud that people can go to get the booklets on the Friendship Walk, the Aliso Creek, and the Serpentine Walk, and it identifies as you go through the trail from start to bit, what are the different trees, how long they've been there, that kind of thing. So it's a beautiful walk. And the guide brochures are available both at the History Center, the library, and some of our other clubhouses and things that are out there. So we want to enjoy the good life in United, and we think all of these things are proactively working in your benefit to do just that. Now we have 2 sad things to do. Today, we say goodbye to 2 of our directors.
Juanita,
Yes.
the members' comments is missing on the agenda.
Yes, it is.
Usually it follows the president's
No,
remarks.
Maxine, you may sit down. We're not doing it that way. If
You're
you
not
will-
having it all?
If you will look on your, there, it is item 13.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So first, we say goodbye to Pat English. And Pat has been on our mutual board. I've got certificates here somewhere. She was president for 2 years, treasurer for 3 years. She served on finance, business planning, M&C committees, and also served on the GRF finance and other GRF committees. Most memorable experience she gave us that she felt she had on the board were defeating the Recreation Master Plan and a vote to recall the United Board, and in addition supported the payoff for the $10 million loan. And in order to prevent repeat of similar actions, she helped us to introduce a resolution to require corporate member approval for projects of $500,000 or more. And in 2015, we were instrumental in removing PCM and VSM. So we really appreciate what she has given to us. And Pat, if you would come forward, I'd like to present you with this certificate of appreciation in recognition of excellence and service as a member of the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors. And you'll get your picture too, but we haven't taken it off the wall yet. So thank you, Pat.
Thank you,
And-
all the members of the night, and I'm really going to miss all of you and all the things that we've done together, and I'm going to miss our attorney for sure. I can't say, well, go talk to Jeff anymore. So anyway, thank you. We'll find you to harass.
Right.
Okay.
Well, she's not going far.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that both she and Director Tibbetts, who we are also losing from our board, are going on to GRF. So they will be still part of our governance community.
They're running for it.
The other director that we are losing is Don Tibbetts. And Don has been on boards for 15 years in the village. From 2000 to 2008 on the United Board, second vice chairman, chairman of maintenance and construction, chairman of landscape, and as treasurer. From 2008 to 2014, he was on GRF. He was first vice chairman, chairman of maintenance and construction, chairman of landscape committee, and worked on the village greens committee, building the village greens. Then from 2014 to 2018, he came back to us, and he's second vice president, chairman of maintenance and construction. He heads the resident advisory committee, and he's on the architectural committee. And for him, his most memorable actions involved changing our name from Leisure World, that goes back a while, to Laguna Woods Village, which necessitated the returning of the Leisure World globe to the owner and the Leisure World name. So Don, if you'd come forward, same type of certificate, appreciation in recognition of the years of excellence and service as a member of the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors. Thank you, Don. Okay, back to the agenda. So those were my president's remarks. We now acknowledging the outgoing directors, which we just did, Pat and Don. And we introduce the directors with expired terms. Jeff, would you handle those?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. So for agenda item number 9, we have the directors whose terms have expired. Those are Janie Durrell, Pat English, Carl Randazzo, thank you, and Don Tibbetts. With those terms expiring, we had an annual election this year to fill those 4 positions. The continuing directors, I'll go to item number 10 now, include Maggie Blackwell, whose term expires 2019, Gary Morrison, whose term also expires next year, Andre Torn, whose term expires next year as well, Cash Akrakar, whose term expires in 2020, Manuel Armandiris, whose term expires in 2020, and Reza Bastani, whose term expires in 2020, and Juanita Skillman, whose term also expires in 2020. Now going to agenda item 11, the introduction of newly elected directors for a 3-year term. And these are the directors who were just elected through the annual meeting to fill the 4 positions that had expired this year. And those include Elsie Addington, whose all these terms expire in 2021, Janie Durrell, Sue Margolis, and Carl Randazzo. And I'd like to ask Elsie and Sue, if you're here, to please come up. And Pat English and Don, if I could ask you to excuse yourselves from the bench, sadly, because I miss both of you already. You've put in an extremely amount of time that can never be measured, and your sacrifice to the community will always be appreciated, and I personally enjoyed working with both of you.
Okay, Whitney's going to change the names here to make it official.
Start. I'll just go all the way.
Okay.
Cash, you still with us?
The Granicus on.
Yep.
All right, we can hear you. All right, we're moving to item number 12 on the agenda, which is the oath of office for all directors, which I've been asked to do for the last few years. What is the oath of office? Well, in any organization, there's typically a board of directors or board of governors, and those individuals are elected to serve the organization. The oath is an official promise by a person who's been elected to office to fulfill the duties of the office according to the organization's governing documents and the law. This means that by taking this oath, each of you, directors, agree that you will adhere to the organization's governing documents, adhere to the law, and to do the best job you can as volunteers. So with that, I ask you by raising your right hand and saying, I do agree to the following. And I'm going to read to you the oath of office that we've read in the past. Each director must act in the best interests of United and its members as a whole, to act with care as a reasonable person would act in a like position, which means, among other things, that the director regularly attends meetings, reviews board packets well in advance of the meetings, reviews and considers information provided by experts. You engage in deliberations amongst yourselves. You make informed decisions, decisions that are based on information and facts, not on emotions or reactive thinking or personal opinions. To uphold and enforce the law and the governing documents of United, which include the Articles of Incorporation, the bylaws, rules and regulations, the occupancy agreement, Director Code of Conduct, and etc. And then lastly, to support the will of the board, which is the majority, even if you are a dissenting director, which means you still have a voice. Each of you still have your own opinions, background, and value you bring to the table. But that when the board makes a decision as a majority, you not act in contravention to that decision. And lastly, by agreeing to this oath, each director will uphold this oath while in office, and in doing so, most importantly, will act with respect, professionalism, and dignity. So with that, I ask each of you, going around the table, starting with Carl, I'm just going to use your first name if you don't mind. Do you agree to this oath?
I do.
Reza? Gary?
I do.
Maggie?
I do.
Juanita?
I do.
And Janie?
I do.
Elsie?
I do.
Andre?
May I ask a question?
Janie? Yes, you may.
It mentioned no own or personal opinions in there. So if I have special expertise in the past, can I contribute in that area?
As long as it's supported by facts and information, yes.
Yes, so personal expertise is allowed in this decision-making process.
Correct.
Okay, then I do.
Okay. Sue?
I do.
Cash?
I do.
And last but not least, Manuel.
I do.
Okay. All right, with that, it's my pleasure to welcome everybody, and I look forward to working with each of you this next year. And I want each of United's members to understand that with the experience I've had with those that are returning and with those that are joining us, Sue and Elise, I can assure you that everybody up here has nothing but the best interests at heart to serve your community as volunteers. Okay, with that, I'll turn the meeting back over to Juanita to start the member comments.
All right, now we have member comments.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Cash?
my Granicus doesn't want to come on. I need the password. And it will help in the voting process.
All right, well, voting is by secret ballot when we go to the organizational meeting, and the results will be announced verbally, so that you don't have to have Granicus if yours isn't working.
Yeah, I have the Granicus on, but it is looking for password and my user ID,
He can
which I don't know what it is.
vote through Cheryl.
Yeah, well, you can vote by phone through Cheryl. You don't have to use Granicus.
Okay, then what phone number? Just here, right here?
No, just the way you are right now. When the voting is finished, she will ask you for your vote, and you can speak to her on the phone to give it privately.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, now, member comments, 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, members may address the Board of Directors regarding our items within the jurisdiction of this board. And there's a maximum time limit, so do we have any speakers?
Yes, our first speaker is Maxine McIntosh.
I hadn't bothered to look at the second page of my agenda. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so locked in on automatic here.
Annual meeting is a little different than regular business meeting.
Right, well, and you have the right to put an item anywhere you want on the agenda, but boy, I was looking for it in that same old place, which isn't necessary. Thank you. This board has, with the help of good staff, identified many areas this last year. I'm really impressed, and I hope people watch these meetings at home so they can be properly impressed with the accomplishments. This board has tackled items that can easily just be passed along from one board to the next that weren't emergencies. And so let's let it go. Let's deal with something else. But they've gone in and tackled it, and the result is that those of us who live here will have an easier time whenever we encounter any of these subjects that they have so completely covered. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy for our mutual that this has happened. Regarding the proposed GR bylaw for approval of village projects that can cost $500,000 or more, you are all corporate members, and I know you will vote on this, I believe, next month. A corporate vote doesn't mean an elimination of a project. I think some people feel that. A corporate vote just means instead of 11 responsible GRF directors voting, there can be up to 27 responsible mutual board directors voting on an issue that's going to cost that large sum of money. I hope you made some good improvements on the resolution that you were looking at last month. I hope you can continue to improve those. There should be no clubhouse or performing arts center exceptions, nor restaurant exceptions. I'm afraid that reeks of special interest favors, even though that may not be intended. When this bylaw was last changed, I was on one of the boards when that was starting, not all the way through the finish. And the whole purpose was just whatever project comes up requires a corporate vote. No exceptions. If it's going to be $500,000 or more, you just have a corporate vote. And now I'm concerned that, I don't know, I hope not, other boards may try to push in more exceptions. Thank you for hanging strong.
Anybody else, Chair?
I have no other requests to speak.
Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none. 14 is, does the board have any responses to Maxine's comments?
I'd like to
Sue?
make a statement if I could.
Certainly.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me, and I hope I can live up to your expectations. I hope to contribute something positive on the board and help give our co-op membership more reason to have confidence in us. We want to avoid the mistake of praising the staff like what happened in New Orleans. Bush said, "You're doing a heck of a job," to FEMA while the citizens were suffering. We need to present the evidence to back our assertions, and when many in our community may be dubious. I propose one way to avoid this is to make sure we have the data to back up our assertions. I hope we can look forward to working with a new GM who's supportive in putting in place an online centralized repository for collecting information that will represent the state of Laguna Woods, so that without much employee overhead, we can determine our baseline on how we're doing and determine exactly where we need to put more effort. This way we can back up, great job, and let the communities see where the data that shows it. I believe too much time is spent in reactive mode, and we need to get ahead of the curve and move into proactive mode. We need statistics on our member satisfaction and evaluate our management team on efficiency and cost effective. Use our funds as a board member. I do not want to micromanage, but I want to provide a strategic goals and direction for our management team. We have many multi-year projects which are very difficult to track fiscally, so we don't often know what the critical path is. Our next GM needs to be supportive of modern project management methodology. This will provide the data for budgeting in future years. In implementing quality systems, I've learned that each employee should spend 4 to 6 hours a week working on how to improve their particular job. It increases morale and really makes a difference. It may be as simple as putting a checklist in place or working on cross-functional teams to determine a better method to hand off work. I'm willing to work to provide a readable budget so everyone will know where every dollar goes. Many complain about their HOA fees, but I do not believe you will find a place with as many amenities, water and garbage, basic cable, landscaping, appliance included with a lower fee rate. On the other hand, I would like to see a plan in which each long-term resident over a certain age would be guaranteed that the rate of increase to the base HOA would not be greater than the Social Security cost of living increase. Many of us long-term residents recall when landscaping was diligently tended and there were fewer security cars patrolling our streets. This community has been on the list of the securest place to live for many years. People visiting may wonder, why do they need so many security while the landscape needs work? I'm looking forward to working with the rest of the board members, and I'm sure Andre with his senior management, Carl with his project management, Cash with his engineering experience, Elsie with her customer perspective, Gary with his auditing background, Janie with her IT, Juanita with her leadership skills, Maggie with her legal background, Manuel with his finance, and Raz with his technology experience. This year will be productive change. I'm a tiny person, and I will need to stand on the shoulders of others. Because we have such a large group of residents, it's difficult to know what skills are available. It'd be great to have a talent inventory so we can call on those residing here to assist. I also want to challenge every resident to think of what would make this a better place for you and go forward assisting the board to make this the best retirement community in the world. Thank you.
Are there any other responses from the board?
Yes,
Maggie?
I'd like to welcome all of you here again, and all of you new, and all of you out there. I'd like to remind you where you are. You're in a CID. You're in an HOA. This is a living facility. It's full of living people and moving parts. We have a structure which is special and unique, only followed by other HOAs and CIDs. No other companies in the world have this structure. We have a VMS, which is a very active group. We have a CEO, and we have a full staff. And we are the board of directors, and we are controlled by California laws and by our own bylaws. And we should work within those things on our structure and on our own duties, and not try to turn this into Toyota or anyone else. So I welcome you all, and I want you to familiarize yourself with our procedures and our documents and get the right framework on. Otherwise, there will always be a little dysfunction between us. If we are not all looking through the same glasses at the same frame, we will have trouble reaching agreement on things. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Andre?
I'm really glad that there are so many diversity point of views on the board. That's what we need to talk about things and the issues that so we can all come up with a conclusion that's most beneficial to the residents and help the residents live a better life here. One thing I always remember is the reading is that improvement means change. So in order to have improvements, we need to require change. We need to look at different things, different ways of doing things. No, we don't want to become a major corporation, but we want to make sure all the residents live a better life here, which means we have to, if there's a changes we need to make, then we need to propose it, and based on our experience, talk about how to change it, and make sure that our residents will benefit from all these changes. So the changes is what we're looking for. On the board, we are all should look for changes to make this community a better place. Other boards, other places, sometimes they settle with whatever they have. But in this community with such a big budget, we need to make sure the budget are well spent. We watch your money as our own money, making sure that things change to the benefit of the residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments from directors? Did I see a hand? Yes. Dick, would you like to make a comment?
My name is Dick Rader. I want to welcome the new board members, and I want to emphasize the following. We have 3 members on the VMS board that were appointed by United. Myself, Mary Stone, Anthony Liberatore, and we welcome the opportunity to serve you. And that means that if you have any suggestions or whatever, that you hopefully funnel it through us. But more importantly, I would emphasize the importance of attending the VMS meetings. Because at those meetings, they are very frank, open, and we receive reports at every meeting, we receive reports, detailed reports from each of the main departments. At that time, you have an opportunity to interact with them, to make suggestions, etc. And that's where the action should occur. It shouldn't occur in this board meeting. It should occur at the VMS meeting, because that's where you'll be able to affect any changes that you might have to offer. So I welcome you, and come on up to the VMS board meetings.
Thank you, Dick. Director Armendariz?
Thank you, Juanito. I'm happy to see this turnout this morning, because this is a very important meeting we have only once a year. And in spite of some of the past meetings you might have observed, I believe all the directors here are doing the best job they can and trying as hard as they can. We're still going to have differences of opinion on the quality of the service that we receive from VMS. And the one good thing about this annual meeting is that we get to start all over again. And there's one area that I've been concerned with right from the very beginning, and I still am. I know they're trying hard, but they're still not getting there. And that's our landscaping. So best thing we can look forward to is that we have another year, we have another try, and hopefully we'll make some improvements in our lawn maintenance and some of the areas that are of major concern to most of our residents. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. This meeting is adjourned, and we'll take a 10-minute break before we start the organizational meeting. So let's be back at 10:45.
If we each go out and just have 40 or 50 signatures, we'd be done.
We would. Then you put it on them. Probably out with the cause, so you don't need to go in the
She's a senior. She's
We'll see what we get. At least that will wait you
She's applying all over Boise, Arizona. I like Boise State. That's where she's Boise State. Yeah.
We just encourage anyone to watch after an hour and a half, any meeting, any past. And see what they like. And first,
She's stressed,
Was
but I
another
told her, don't worry about it. You'll go somewhere. You'll have fun. You'll learn.
Western New Mexico University. That's why I
Is that right?
Really good school, but they specialize in teaching.
Yeah.
It used to be New Mexico Teachers College.
oh,
Thank
hey, good for you, great.
Can the directors please return to the board? All right, Cash, are you there? We're ready to start the organizational meeting. Cash?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Okay, we're getting ready to start the organizational meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. All right, I will call to order the organizational meeting of the Board of Directors of United Laguna Woods Mutual. Today's Tuesday, October 9th, and we are in the boardroom of the Community Center. We have our quorum, including Cash on the phone. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Carl?
Second.
Okay. Is there any objection? Of course.
Is there a job description of any of these officers so we can tell what kind of qualification they need?
No.
If I may answer that question,
Please.
because that's a procedural question again. In your bylaws for United, under the officers section, your bylaws have specific descriptions for each officer, starting with president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary.
Can we
In
hand
other
it out
words, there's
to-
no campaigning during this meeting.
I'm not saying campaign or anything like that. I don't believe that I use the word campaign at all. Okay, so can we hand it out to people so everybody knows what the responsibilities are?
They're in our bylaws. Everybody can read them. I don't think we need to hand out paper to everybody.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. All right, approval of the minutes. Again, there were a couple of Scribner's errors that we have pointed out to the secretary that will be corrected before the minutes are filed for the October 10th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes as changed?
I so move.
Okay. All right, is there any objection? Okay, without objection. Okay. Election of officers. I need a motion to open nominations.
I so move.
Janie, any second? Carl? Okay, any objections to opening nominations? All right, without objection. All right, the first officer is president, and I will entertain nominations for president. Maggie?
I nominate Juanita Skillman.
Okay.
I second.
You don't
Thank you,
need a
Cash.
second for nomination.
But thank you, Cash. Is there any other nominations for president, Sue?
I nominate Manuel Armendariz.
Okay. Any other nominations for president? Seeing none, would you please vote on your first sheet? Whitley will come down and pick them up. If you put them on the inside, it's easier for her. Okay, the ballots will be counted by the secretary and corporate secretary.
Cash, can we get your vote?
I vote for Juanita Silman. Did you get it?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, she can get it. Cash, if you would like to vote privately, you can do so on the phone with, oh, I'm sorry, she doesn't have the phone. We can't take him off speaker then. Sorry.
Okay.
That's fine. No problem.
Thought we had the phone.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Not nominated. Wait. Okay.
Cash, would you like to hang up and I'll call you on my cell phone if you want to vote secretly?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I'll vote here. No problem.
Thank you, Cash.
Thank you.
Seven there plus one is 8. One void and 2. 3.
Did you count Cash?
Yes. All right, the results are, one ballot was void. There was a name of a person who was not nominated. 3 votes for Mr. Armendariz, and 8 votes for Juanita Skillman.
7 if there's one that's,
7. Thank you.
because there's one that's not
Right.
valid. Okay. All right, thank you very much. I accept the position. The next one is first vice president. Do I have a nomination? Director Armendariz?
I'd like to nominate Sue Margolis.
Sue, do you
First vice
accept?
president, right? Oh, okay, excuse me.
All right. Any other nominations for Maggie?
Carl Randazzo.
Okay. Carl, will you accept the nomination?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Any other nominations for first vice president? Seeing none?
We are nominating first vice president and second Collins.
Okay, we don't need a second, but that's okay. Carl is nominated. If you don't have another nomination, Director Armendariz?
I'd like to nominate Andre Toring.
Okay. We have 2 nominations. Andre, would you accept the position?
Yes, I will.
All right. We have 2 nominations for first vice president, if you will please.
I move nominations be closed.
Well, that's all of them together.
Okay,
We don't do
thank
that yet. We get them all through.
All right, so we're not doing that, okay?
No, we do that at the end when we get them all.
For this office.
No, you cannot vote. All nomination done is done. You cannot move to close it
Yeah.
before it's done.
Thank you.
All right, please vote.
Juanita,
Yes.
can we nominate the new directors for any of the position?
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Cash, did you hear the two nominations?
And one is Carl Randazzo and the other one is
Andre.
Andre Torn.
Right.
And what's your vote?
My vote is for Carl Randazzo.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wait. So this is board. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. 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 Yes, thank you. Right. Okay. There is one which is void because it was for a non-nominated person. There were 3 for Andre Torn and 8 for Mr. Randazzo. Oh, that would be
7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 for Mr. Randazzo.
Okay. All right, our next office is for second vice president. Do I have a nomination?
Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
So far, we've voted on the president and vice president, and in each vote, one of you have voted for someone that was not nominated. I want to make it clear that if you want to vote for somebody for one of these officers, that person has to be nominated, and they have to accept that nomination. Once that is done, then that person is eligible for you to cast your ballot for.
I nominate Sue.
All right, thank you. Is there another Yes, Gary?
I nominate Cash Akrakar.
Okay. Cash, are you willing to accept second vice president if elected?
Yes.
All right, Sue, are you willing to accept? Okay. All right, would you vote, please?
Any others?
Any others?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see any other hands. All right.
Cash, are you voting for yourself?
Well, can I reserve my vote till the end or?
No, this is the end.
Vote for yourself.
Thank you.
I see what's happening. She's filling out the paperwork. Okay. Whoops. Okay, we have 4 votes for Sue Margolis and 7 votes for Cash Akrakar.
Thank you. All right, the next vote is for board secretary. May I have any nominations for board secretary? Janie?
I nominate Maggie Blackwell.
Okay, Maggie, will you accept the nomination?
Yes?
I nominate Sue.
All right. Are there any other nominations for secretary?
I move we close the nomination.
Well, we can't close them because we do them all at once. Seeing no more, we'll go on to the next.
For the office. That way, it's all right. It's all right, never mind. It's okay.
All right, would you please vote for secretary?
Cash, do you want to give me your vote?
Yes, I vote for Maggie Blackwell.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We have one ballot that was marked no one. Then we have 2 votes for Ms. Margolis and 8 votes for Ms. Blackwell. So Blackwell is secretary.
Okay. All right. Last but certainly not least, I will accept nominations for the position of treasurer. Janie?
I nominate Gary Morrison.
All right. Any other nominations? Raisa?
Yeah, I nominate Sue for treasurer.
Okay, any other nominations?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Oh, we need to get them all in yet.
For the office, for this office, yes.
Okay, all right, well. Yeah, Gary, well, that's what I'm waiting for, to see if there's any other nominations. Are there any other nominations for treasurer?
May I?
No.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer? If not, please vote. Oh, Gary, will you accept?
Yes.
Sue, would you accept? All right.
Cash, can you give me your vote?
I will vote for Gary Morrison.
Okay.
Okay, we have Sue Margolis has 4, Gary Morrison has 7. All ballots were acceptable this time. So it's Gary Morrison as treasurer.
All right, the election of officers shows Juanita Skillman as president, Carl Randazzo as first vice president, Cash Akrakar as second vice president, Maggie Blackwell as secretary, and Gary Morrison as treasurer. Do I have a motion to close nominations? Okay, Carl and Maggie. All right, is there an objection? All right, without objection, nominations are closed. Okay, we announced, this isn't an election, that we have the executive officers, which are Siobhan Foster right now and Cheryl Silva as ex officio officers on our board. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the election of the officers. May I have such a motion?
I will.
Jamie, is there a second? Carl? All right. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution for the election of officers? Just your back.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? No. Okay. Abstentions? Okay, all right. It passes. In that case, I welcome our new officers and our new board. So this meeting is adjourned.